All right, guys. Thanks for being here tonight. Sorry we're running a little bit late, a few minutes here. Apparently, somebody just likes to keep reporting these question and answer sessions. So, whoever's being childish out there, it's just absolutely ridiculous. If you don't want to partake in it, just don't come. Don't be stupid. Anyways, I appreciate everybody's here. It's going to be a few minutes. Probably do a couple more people will kind of trickle on in. So, in the meantime, I'll probably give you the little rundown of what's going on here. So this week, a lot of stuff. Flash sales are still going on, and we got a lot of people took advantage of that. A lot of whites and cornuda, different Pacman and things like that. People have been really, really taking advantage of. We have some really cool stuff coming out of the water, guys. Samurai albinos, samurai teals are going to be released here very soon. Also, we have some strawberries, some tans, other albinos, regular normal strain albinos that are going to be released. And we put the Froggy 5-pack back on sale. I know a few of you guys have already taken advantage of that, and a lot of you guys have already been waiting for that to come back in stock, which we have. Also, blue-eyed whites are back in stock. Last time they sold out in 48 hours. So if you're looking for blue-eyed whites, jump on that because they're probably not going to last long. Hope you guys have your coffee. No, I do. It's been a really long week here. Guys have been keeping me busy, and that's awesome. Also upgraded our tadpole system, added another 440 gallons on a circulating system so we can provide more cool frogs to you guys. There's going to be a lot of really interesting stuff here coming down the pike the next couple weeks. I try not to let this whole corona thing disrupt the plans for this year too much as far as breeding and what we're able to get out to you guys. Just going to randomly throw in questions here as you guys put them out. When will blue phase whites be in? They're in now. So there should be some already for sale on the page. So should be no problem there. I know we have blue eyes, we have blue phase. Probably going to have some snowflake blue eyes coming up here this week. We do have some more animals that are still left from our honey spawn. We did another spawn of blue eyes earlier in the week to kind of keep those in stock because you guys have really shown a lot of interest in the whites, and you're really digging these morphs, which are awesome. They're one of my favorite animals to work with. Obviously, Pacmans being once says out of stock. I will probably check that tomorrow after we box up orders. I know we've had a crazy 3 days on the online store, so we might have just sold out on the flash sale. And how the flash sales work, guys, basically we put a certain percentage of animals up for sale at a reduced price so that you guys can get a really good deal at this crazy time. And we do flash sales throughout the year. We're just doing more flash sales now to kind of help us keep the lights on and keep things going, and help you guys the same way because you want to enjoy frogs and you're at home. I know a lot of you guys aren't working right now, and if you are, you're essential, and thank you for doing everything you do and keeping things going no matter what it is, from nurses to truck drivers, whatever you do is essential. I appreciate it. I know a lot of people all do. So yeah, the flash sales, some of them might be just out of stock until maybe we add some more, and again, that all depends. We have sold a lot of whites on flash sale, so again, thank you guys. We got at least 20 or 25 orders that we're going to try and get out tomorrow. Every time I think I've ordered enough boxes and heat packs, you guys prove me wrong, which is a good thing. That's no problems. So if we don't get the orders out tomorrow, more of those supplies are on the way, and it's going to get out Wednesday. I know we have more cornuda in, and what we have is what we have. It's going to be it for a while, guys. So whatever's there, take advantage of the cornuda. They're phenomenal. They are a really tough Pacman, probably the toughest Pacman. But I know a lot of you guys are having great success with them. We've had great success with this spawn, and some cannot be as easy. So we're waiting to. We've already put the samurai albinos up for sale. but it will probably be a little bit, maybe towards the end of the week, that we actually put the teals up. Two reasons. Number one, this is Samurai Spawn, which means mutants can randomly pop out of absolutely everywhere. They do carry the mutant gene, the Samurais. And believe it or not, purple Pacmans are green when they come out. So for two reasons, we want them to color up a little bit more till they get to you guys. And number two, we want to make sure we're not selling a purple Pac-Man, way underpriced. So we need to make sure that that's okay, that everything's going well. So give us a little bit of time with the teals. I know I've gotten questions at least every day about them. They are coming. We have plenty. We also have, in very limited numbers, we're going to have some emeralds for you guys. So emeralds and 4-spot emeralds are out of the water as well. Was not a very large spawn. So I would anticipate maybe 20 or 25 of those going for sale after we take out our holdbacks. Is a regular 20-gallon tank okay for two white tree frogs? Absolutely. It's more than enough for two. I would probably say in a 20-gallon you could put three. You're talking the 20 highs, not the longs. So you could put 3 to 4 max in there. Not a problem as adults. No issues. And keep in mind, guys, I see that there's a bunch of you here. You can just, in the chat window here on your right, just type in any questions you have, or if there's a certain topic, pardon me, that you guys want to chat about tonight, throw it in there. Another thing that was new this week, I added a new page, the Pacman Frog Collective. It's a new form, new chat that's on Facebook. You could go in there. We've already got, I think, like 160, 170 members in less than a week. So it's a great place to come and talk fat frogs. You don't have to just talk Pac-Man. We talk pixies and tomatoes, and we have some cool days like whatever Frog Fridays and things like that. And we are the only group that I'm aware of that has. I think we have four Pac-Man breeders that are in that room. There's no other groups out there that have 4 Pac-Man breeders, and half of them are admins. So, guys, you have access to an amazing amount of knowledge from right straight from the source. In fact, you have 70% of the United States Pac-Man breeders in there. So, I mean, if you want to go and you have questions, you need to troubleshoot. I mean, that's the place to do it. And we also have Kevin Clary, he's overseas the UK Pac-Man breeder. So there's a little bit from around the other side of the world there that can give some information. It's for everybody, beginners all the way to the expert level to go in there and ask. And it's a no shame zone. You don't have to. You can ask whatever you want. We do not condone any kind of battling or bickering or high horse. I mean, we're just going to delete that crap. It's just a really cool spot. You guys can go. You can ask a bunch of questions and just share your frogs and have a good time. Any other questions for you guys? I see there's a few more viewers here and no other questions. I'm trying to think if there was anything else going on this week. That's a lot of the updates that you're going to see coming up here. The blue-eyed snowflakes are pretty cool, guys. That's going to be something that I would jump on. If you're a Whites fan and a morph collector, that's going to be it. Gonna try and do a couple videos if we have time. It's just really, really tough right now with the decreased staff here, and basically, I'm doing probably 90% of the work at the moment with the phone calls, the emails, and the orders, and everything else. So it's going to take some time to get back to the regular videos. These sessions are just great because we could jump on in here and chat about stuff, and you guys can go back, and I get to the end of the night to kind of calm down and have some coffee. But so another question here: do albino samurais look pretty much the same as regular albinos? No. They are more of that lime green albino, which we've seen in the past. And like I said, if you're as a collector, they're definitely different. Oh, we have 4-spot albino samurais too. I'm sorry, forgot to add that. But they, like I said, they carry the mutant gene. These are pure samurai lines. I don't know very many people in the States that have samurai lines that are doing breeding, but I'm a really big, obviously not only Pac-Man collector, I'm a morph buff. I got to have one of everything, but I also like to make sure that I preserve these lines and make sure that they're going to keep on going so that the hobby can have these for, years and years and years and years to come for people to enjoy. Uh, Tom, you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to watch the whole thing, man. No, I'm just joking. Tons of updates, Tom. Make sure to check out the beginning of the video. Tons and tons of stuff that's going on this week. Tim's asking, is this live now? The date says March. It is live. The date is wrong. We had to restart the program and it used the last stream. So I apologize for that because somebody keeps making sure to go in there and flag down our videos. Let me change this really quick if it'll let me while we're live. Here. Hey, there we go. Now it should say 4/5/2020. What country outside the U.S. is a big one for Pac-Man? Taiwan has to be. Taiwan Asian market has to be as big or not bigger than the United States market. They have a ton of morphs that we are just in the infancy here as far as mutants and things like that go. I know they got a few other things, but they can produce frogs way cheaper than we do. A lot of times they don't have a water bill. They also come from a country where bloodworms are made for tadpoles, so that's the two main costs for breeders as far as getting them out to you guys and labor. We don't pay ourselves till the end of the day, so um, they're able to do it a lot cheaper than us, but of course, then you have to pay for importing and exporting, which puts the price way over. But they are really good at what they do there. They have a lot of different morphs as well. There's a lot of great breeders over there. I'd say there's probably more breeders in Taiwan than there is in the States. Do we do local pickup? Normal, Robbie, no, we would not now because the coronavirus. We're not doing it. We normally do we have a meeting point in the area that I would do that for you, but I do have a 6-year-old little one that I watch full time, and I have to be careful with that. I literally go to the grocery store, the gas station, and FedEx, and that's my three spots to which I'm allowed to. Well, not that I'm allowed to. That I go. We're considered essential. We are allowed to be on the streets. I'm allowed to conduct the business, make sure that we're getting the feeders in the mail for you guys, the frogs in the mail, and all the food. So right now the service is not going to stop. We're going to keep on going. We have the letter from from the governor says that we're okay. So do we meet? Just not at this time, just for safety reasons. Is it hard to import the morphs here? You need a lot of trust, deep pockets, really deep pockets, and some luck. It's not that I don't know a bunch of breeders over there, but well, obviously right now all importing is done from there at the second. And we're working on some big things, guys. We really are, as far as bringing in the importing, but it's really tough and it's extremely expensive. You're talking $10,000 plus that you're gambling, and that's not always something that I wanted to do. I'm not a big gambling guy, so yeah, it is hard to import stuff in if you don't have the proper connections and money that you can go ahead and say, well, I hope I make this. I hope it turns out for us because the animals might arrive. They might arrive dead. You might have a dishonest importer, which is not going to help you, and it does happen. I've heard a lot of horror stories, but there are some really good ones out there as well. So it is very tough, which is why I work really, really, really hard here to keep different lines and develop new things for the market here because it's just I think it's the way to do it because while strawberries and albinos and greens and tans are really cool. I mean, I like them all. There's not a morph I don't like. Um, I love the new stuff. I love finding new morphs and working with something new. It really, kind of lights the fire in me to do what we do here and always get better with things. No, they are not as hardy as ball python shipping wise. I mean, they ship real fine in the states here, but you're also talking about shipping from overseas, and a lot of times they do fine. But again, you have to get from an honest breeder that has some size on them, to which they're going to make this really long trip over here, and then you gotta get them eaten, make sure it's good stock. So it gets tough in that case. Do you design your own website? Yes and no. I worked with a web designer. She was great. Her name was Emily. God, I'd have to find her last name on our page. She's a customer of ours. Fantastic work. Set it all up for us, and then from there, I've been critiquing and updating. And I don't know very much about web designing, but I've gotten to learn a lot about web designing as we've relied on that site extremely heavily. And thank God for the site, because without it, we would be out of business right now. So the site has been great and been doing really, really well for us, and very, very little hiccups. So, thank you to her for putting that together. Also, learning how to do piping and woodwork and all that other stuff with building. I've never done that, but since we're doing this full time, you kind of have to learn it because it costs a lot of money to get people to do it for you. What was the deal with the white frog? I'd never seen that before. Do you mean, Tim? Do you mean a white Pac-Man? Which white frog, or is it a white street frog? Which one do you mean in that question? Sorry, I know it's lagging behind just a little bit. And how many known variations are there worldwide? I don't even know, to be honest with you. Um, I'd have to make a list. It's a great question. I know we carry, God, we got to be carrying close to 20 or 25 different morphs here. Um, and the mutants are just, I don't even know if mutants have been classified as far as this is this morph mutant, this is that, which one coming out's what. I know you have the Phantom and some other coined names, but I really don't know how many of them there are, because I know here we've spawned at least 4 or 5 different looking mutants, and they're all really cool. White Pac-Man, okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Uh, the White Pac-Man, if you're referring to the one that was on the Pac-Man Collective, that is something, an inside joke that's not really a joke. Mr. Robert Sands, a great breeder, been doing it a very long time down in Florida, has the white ones, and I've been trying to get him a kick in the butt to breed them. He also developed the emeralds, which is a fantastic line of frogs. So trying to get him to go with that frog and do some breedings. But again, when you're in this kind of market and you're wholesaling, the regular base morphs keep the lights on, and sometimes the other projects, which may be a, a big win or a big bust, you don't always want to gamble when you need the flow of money to keep the bills paid. So I'm going to get him to do that one day. Maybe he's watching this video, or maybe he watches it later. And Robert, if you're watching this video, breed those darn frogs. So, but the other white frogs that you might have seen are mutants, the ones that are all white with the red eyes. Those are albino, complete black-eyed translucents. They're not black-eyed, but they're all red-eyed because they're albinos. Um, if I ordered a Pac-Man frog or two, can I have those shipped on Wednesday so I get it Thursday? Absolutely. It's not a problem at all. That's an easy request. Mm-hmm. Emily, you're late to the party. just make sure if you have any questions, just type them right in the side there. We're going to keep on going probably for like another 10 minutes. I mean, as long as you guys have questions and people are jumping in, then we are going to go ahead and keep on answering questions for you guys. Got the goods in tomorrow. What goods do you mean? There's so there's so many packages coming in and out right now. I have to make sure I ask. Um, but tomorrow's Monday, so we're not getting any live animals on Monday. We will be shipping out tomorrow. Make sure we don't have any questions too on the page. No. Blue Eyes Tuesday. So yeah, the Blue Eyes and the Snowflake Blue Eyes. We're getting replenished with some of those on Tuesday. So it's going to be 2 days because everybody. Sunday is not a shipping day for anybody. So neither FedEx or UPS will do anything on a Sunday. So that's why we don't do any shipping past Thursday. I highly consider getting a regular green or either an albino pastel or samurai albino. I would. I mean, if I had the choice and I only had limited space, I would do samurai albino and a samurai teal. If that's available now, or strawberry. I mean, you can't beat a strawberry, really. The colors on them are insane as well, and who doesn't like a red frog? Any other questions, guys? Besides parasites and infections, can frogs get sick? Absolutely. You did name the top two. Pacmans, if they get into bacterial infections, they can tox out by their own waste. So if you don't have the correct substrate, you're not cleaning it all the time, that will happen. Or another big one with Pacmans and sometimes white tree frogs, because they like to eat so voraciously, they will get impactions. So that's another thing to worry about. That's a big one. So you have your bacterial infections. They're also prone to eye infections. If they end up getting, any kind of bacteria in their eyes, they will get that too, and that's a real pain in the butt. Or if they're not supplemented correctly. We do carry the Repashy products. I do use Calcium Plus and Vitamin A and the Supervite here for all the frogs rotated. That's the key, guys. Supplementation. Don't rely on one thing, or if you're not supplementing at all, make sure to do it. Variety is a spice of life would be good, but it really, really helps these frogs to have vitamin A to help. You don't need it for the breeding purposes, but you do need it. It will help with eyes and other structures in the frog's body. So vitamin A is really, really important. And the Calcium Plus is a really nice calcium, vitamins, and minerals, kind of combination. So that's one. If you don't have it on the shelf, you need it on the shelf. It's not a sales tactic. It's something that they need to have. You dust the crickets. It's ridiculously simple. It's very cheap. A $10 bottle is going to last you 6, 7, 8 months. So you're talking pennies to do. But you will see a big difference. So you could have issues with MBD. You could have issues with eyes. So nutritional issues are another really big issue you can have with these guys. If the proper hydration isn't given, the kidney failures, liver issues. So there's a lot. Let me tell you, I always like to say frogs like to do one of a couple things. They like to reproduce and they like to die. They make a lot of them. There's a lot of frogs they make, and they can have a lot of problems. There's just a lot of problems that people aren't aware of, or they're husbandry related problems. 90% of issues with frogs are husbandry related problems. With working in exotic vets and an AZA for 10 years, I can tell you it's almost always husbandry. Thank you. 13, and I'm sure there'll be more on the way soon. Wait till you see these other ones. Is there a particular Pac-Man that gets bigger? Absolutely. The Aritas and the Ornates. These guys, they do get pretty large compared to regular Cranwells, and their appetites are like that of pixies. So they're very ferocious eaters, and I have some ornates and Arita down there, the Brazilian horns, that are topping out at like 350 grams. They're massive frogs, and they're great hardy frogs. And I can tell you, we do a lot of red ornates to sales to people. They love them. They're amazing frogs. They're great, and they almost never have issues. And the same with the Ritas. They're almost bulletproof. I say almost because again, your husbandry still has to be correct. But those guys, God, that they love to eat, and they do really good. And that reminds me to another thing. Um, as far as eating, if you're having a Pac-Man that's kind of having some eating issues and is a little bit picky, Samurai Pac-Man food, guys. It's a powder food. You mix with a little bit of water, just like your Pangea and some of your other Rapashi stuff like crested geckos, if you ever had them. And man, they love the stuff. It really kind of jumpstart them, and they do really well on it. And it's something, again, that it's a product that it's so cheap, it lasts forever on your shelves. To not have it is just crazy. I mean, I use it, here and there when I got a frog that's kind of needs to get back on track, or isn't getting out of Estivus quick enough, kind of cooled off, whatnot, and just isn't jumping back on the bandwagon, or even a frog that's not feeling that great. They love the stuff, and it works really well and gets them, gets the nutrition that they need and kicks them right back on. So that's another thing. Like, you don't have the supplements or that stuff on your shelf. I mean, you're talking pennies, and a vet bill is way more expensive. Can whites have Pangea or Rapashi? It depends. The Rapashi products we sell, they can have the calcium, the vitamin A, and the Supervite. Those are the three that I highly recommend. As long as and with the gut load, we use the gut load here for the crickets. I use all those products. Like everything you see on our site, guys, we use right here. I firmly believe in selling to you guys what I'm using here and what works. I'm not gonna sell you a product that I can get cheaper that might not work. That's stupid. Just because we can make more money on it, I can tell you we make very little money on the Rapashi products, but I really do believe that it's a great product. It works very well for all these frogs. So we use it. And I suggest the same as well, having it on your shelves, making sure that you guys have access to it. Is the sun bad for the packs or any frogs? Uh, they're not basking frogs, which is why there's a lot of information out there in the groups about vitamin D3 and things like that, which vitamin D3 is really big with basking animals and certain reptiles. And while they could use a little bit of it, they're not going to go out and bask in the sun like some of these animals, other reptiles, I should say. Um, Thanks, Jay. You have a great night too. Thanks for joining us. So I don't think I would put them outside in the sun. I mean, that's just asking for if something happens and you forget them, and as long as you're sitting right there and you're not leaving, you're bringing them back in, you're monitoring the temperatures, you'll be fine. It isn't going to hurt them as long as you don't forget. Is it okay to mist a Pac-Man with distilled water? I don't use distilled water with anything. Absolutely anything. I don't use RO and I don't use distilled. I've done distilled before, and the problem with distilled is that distilled water takes basically everything's out of the water, good and bad. It takes the chlorine, takes the the heavy metals, and things like that. So it's basically almost nothing. What I like to do here is I have reserve tanks, hundreds of gallons of regular water that's treated to be dechlorinated, and that's what I use for the frogs. And I've never had issues with that using dechlorinated water. Now, tap water is going to be different for everybody all around, so you'd have to kind of check that. But if it was me, I would then use dechlorinated spring water if your tap water is not really good. What size tub do you use in adult? Yeah, I can't read. Not enough coffee yet tonight. What size tubs do you keep your adult Pacmans in for your racks? We do use. I see you must have watched other videos. It depends. We've done shoe boxes, and we've also done the 16 quart, the next size up. And keep in mind, guys, they're changed every day. Like literally, we take them out and we change them and clean them every single day because we keep the frogs different as a breeder. So it's a different setup. Now you can definitely use reptile racks. I highly recommend it. But I think if I was keeping for pets at home, I would probably do the 16 quart breeder. I know a lot of people keep pixie frogs in the 32 quart or the CB70s, the bigger ones for snakes that work really well for those frogs too. So great question. I love the racks because you can put it on a thermostat. You can control that temperature. You can keep more frogs because it's space efficient, and they seem to do extremely well on it. So I definitely recommend using reptile racks. I use 100% all sea serpent racks here now. We switched them all over. It's a great rack, good PVC rack. The heat comes from the bottom. Which that reminds me, we've had a couple customers again getting information from various groups of putting heat on the side of their tubs for Pac-Man. Uh, don't do it. I don't understand where that's coming from because these animals are sitting in their substrate and burrowing down, and they're thermoregulating by moving around their tank. If the heat's on the side, the heat's only going to penetrate in maybe an inch or so. It's going to go right up because that's what heat does. Heat rises, and the frogs aren't getting their proper heat. Or if you have a lid on it, it's just really kind of heating the ambient temperature, not really the bottom, and that's not really that good either. I don't recommend putting that heat mat on the side. Heat mats are made to go underneath. There's certain situations with tree frogs where I can kind of understand that, um, but don't do it for Pac-Man frogs. It just isn't going to work really at all. I don't understand it. We did have a customer lose a frog this week because they did it, and well, I don't think that's the only reason. There's a couple other things, but that was one of the things that we picked out and said, maybe we should change that around just a little bit and kind of critique things. Animal Plastics does make great racks. I started out 17 years ago using all animal plastic racks. My beef with their racks is they're a little bit more expensive and their wait time can be insane. So they make a great rack. I absolutely agree. But for price and wait time, sometimes it's but we need it. We need it. We're expanding. We need this stuff to come and not wait 4 to 8 weeks. Let me check the other room here real quick, guys, and see if we have any other questions. All right. Any last minute questions, guys? We're at almost 35 minutes. Wow, we went pretty long tonight, and that's fine. As long as you guys have questions and topics that you want to chat about, that's what I'm here for. So I want to do these sessions to get you guys the information. But make sure to go in and check out the Pac-Man Frog Collective. I run the group with help of a couple other admins. It's a phenomenal growing fat frog room with great atmosphere, great information, and you guys are going to love it. So make sure to head on in there and check stuff out. Alrighty, well, if there's no other questions popping on through, again, thanks for coming, guys. Really appreciate your support. Um, check. It's going to be another crazy week. Make sure to check out Frog Depot's Facebook page. It's going to have stuff on there all the time, and there might be some new items, like we talked about earlier. Maybe some new flash sales, um, and we're going to be updating all the time. And please, if I take a little bit longer to respond, I do apologize. Like I said, things are really busy right now, and we're running on a decreased labor hours. So again, stay safe, guys. Enjoy your quarantine. Quarantine. Go do some projects around the house. Enjoy your family at home. Watch some television. Watch some Tiger King. That's great entertainment for 7 hours. Whatever you do, just have fun and be safe. Okay? I look forward to talking to you guys later. Everybody have a great night.